AAPL. Good to see you. All right. We are live on YouTube. We are just about to get started. 2, 1. All right. There we are. Hey, everybody. Glad to see you. Glad you could make it. I've got Zoom feed going. I've got a YouTube feed going. And if you're brand new to this, let me know in the chat. I want to welcome you, give you a little background on what I do. Anyway, what's on tap? We got 3 topics for the day. We've got a huge market week ahead with the FOMC coming out tomorrow. That's our Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, coming out and talking at 2:30 after he makes the announcement at 2. And it's going to be a market mover, I'm pretty sure. You know, the going rate right now is 3/4 point rise. If they flinch at all, we could see a major market rally. And then, of course, item number 3, we'll do the you pick the stocks. So once I give you a little bit of my market analysis, we'll go through what you came for, and I already see a nice list in YouTube already. So let's jump into it. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational only. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument. If you desire personal financial advice, you can go hire a financial advisor and consult them. All right. So let's jump out of that and into some charts. So kicking it off today, we have come right up to the red zone and found a little pullback. This is looking like, is this the end? Is this not the end? I don't know. This could very well lead us to a lower low. We came up a little bit shy of the target there a couple weeks ago, and we could turn down here. It's entirely possible. If the Fed remains super hawkish and kind of forcing the point that they're going to raise 3/4 this month or 3/4 next month, 3/4 into the next year, well, that could be bearish on the market. And if they flinch at all, though, well, seasonality is on our side to see a big pop potentially. And yeah, I don't even have it up right now, but I put it in Discord, and the seasonality for the rest of the year is quite bullish. Although I have to say, usually November is only bullish for the first maybe week and a half, and then we get some chop into Thanksgiving, and then we resume the bullish trend, and then we get some chop mid-December, coming right into Christmas, and then we pop a little bit right into the end of the year. And that's just the average move for the last 20 years or so. It's just what happens every year. So anyway, that's the S&P. Let's pop over, check out the futures, coming right up into the red zone that I've had on here for a few weeks now. That's the S&P 500 futures, if you're not familiar. So next up, we've got big tech, Nasdaq, having trouble getting out of the bottom here, just kind of consolidating down here at the lows. If you've been checking out the live stream that I've been doing every day, well, I've got a little bit different chart I've been using. These are the free charts, the free version on TradingView, and we're kind of hitting our head right on that trend line there. Excuse me. There. We had a high back here in August, a high right here in September, and a high just a couple weeks ago in October, or a week ago, and we're not able to break through that trend line. We've got the resistance for the roadmap line right there, and then the bigger downtrend of the highs. All that stuff has to be broken through this trend line, this zone, this trend line, in order to really turn bullish on big tech and Nasdaq. S&P 500 kind of has a similar situation going on. Downtrend of the highs. We're just chugging right at it right here, just poking through. But then we have this same resistance zone at the roadmap line and the same downtrend of the highs right up here. Russell is the one that's a little bit different. Today, trying to poke up through the roadmap line. It's already broken through that trend line, downtrend line of the highs, the initial one. Finding resistance at this roadmap line. If it can get a close up here around 1900, that could be very bullish for it to go test this downtrend line of the highs that we've had cooking for the whole year pretty much. We break up through that, it's bullish game on. Now, to me, this is kind of indicative that small caps may be leading. These are our stocks that are not big cap names. These are the little companies. And it's, even though it says it's the 2000 index, it's roughly 1800, maybe down to 1700 was a count I just saw recently. Those are the smaller names. And you can go to someplace like FinViz and check out the Russell 2000 and see some of the names that are in there. But these are not like Walmart, not Apple, not Amazon, not Google. These are other smaller companies that are out there. All right. Oil came up to the roadmap line, got a pullback right down to the orange zone one more time, came up, pulled back again. Is this the wind up for the pop? I don't know. I've got to see a break of 90 to really convince me that we might get some legs on this move. Otherwise, we could see a lower low on oil. And right now, lots of the oil energy stocks are quite bullish. And this morning in the free webinar thing, the weekly or the daily live stream I've been doing this week, I talked about crack. And I didn't really talk about what I did. I've mentioned this a few times, but when it broke through 29, I think right around here, this 29.50 level, when it broke through there, I bought a few shares, not a lot of shares. We're talking like I think 20 or 30 shares, just to catch this move up. Now, what kind of move up do I think it's going to do? Well, we run a fib line on here. We have a resistance zone coming in right here at this prior high. So we're going to watch out for this 32 to be resistance, and we could bounce down from there one more time. So you got to watch out for that. It's definitely an alert level right there. Now, if we can break up through that, then I think 35 is a reasonable target. And just based on this move right here, right like that, 35 coming out the 272 right there. Of course, we'll probably see some resistance. We've got a fib line, a 1272 right below that 32 area, and a 1618 right above that 3288 it comes in. This one's 3172 looks like. So we've got a little zone right there that we may see some resistance before we can break right on up through. But 35 is basically my ultimate target right now until I see some more price action. This is only a 3-wave move up. We could see a retrace and a next move up, leading to yet another 3-wave. I need to see some 5-wave impulsive constructive moves up out of here to really get me excited about seeing some higher prices. Now, if this was all the pullback and we do start running out, 3880 would be an upside target, and 4228. And right now I'm just kind of sitting on my shares. And why not options? Because, well, it's a little bit illiquid on the options, and shares are the way I decided to play it. All right. Okie dokie. So, moving on down the list. Gasoline, still on the pullback. If we start breaking below this 240 zone down in here, we're probably going to head down back to this $2 area that I mentioned a few weeks ago. I keep kind of talking about it. Gold right here, just consolidating at the lows. Really looks like it wants to break down and get one more lower low. A nice flush out. That entirely possible right now that we see a flush out move down to 1600 or even 1550 or so. So if you're trying to be long on gold, be careful, be cautious. This thing can do one more little flush before we can actually get a bullish reversal coming out of here. Now, if we start breaking out of this trend line right here, back up through this 1685, 1700, that little zone right there, we start breaking up through that, get above the roadmap line on the daily, then we can get bullish on gold and keep coming back on Tuesdays. I check in on it every week. Bitcoin, having a little trouble getting out of this orange consolidation box. Drew this box a while ago and said sideways is the way I expect it to go. Poked out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, it looks like. made little pokes out of the top, but it has not been able to break out of this box. Come on, Bitcoin. Get it together. Let's get out of here. Let's go back up here to about 3,500. And it kind of has a really rough inverse head and shoulders pattern that could lead it up to about 34,000 if that plays out. But right now, we're just kind of, for better words, farting around down here in this consolidation box. So we need Bitcoin to break out of here. It's going to take the rest of crypto with it if it can do it. Ethereum came right up to the roadmap line and found resistance. It has done this before. It's doing it again. We need it to get on the north side, the upside of this, to get to see some higher action here. I mean, consolidating here can, and starting to roll over, can definitely lead us to a lower low, and we don't really need that right now. I don't need it right now. You don't need it right now. We don't need it right now. All right. Stacy was talking about Doge with me. This thing popped like a villain on Elon Musk excitement. You know, he took over Twitter, took it private. Twitter's delisted, if you didn't know, because of that. And this thing popped basically on hopium that Elon still likes it. I think he kind of messes with markets a little bit, and he liked the fact that he could tweet a little bit and watch the chart pop. But I'm not sure how well it actually plays into the Twitter universe as far as a payment system or anything like that. There's 10,000 Doge minted every minute, and so that makes this thing very inflationary. And really, I have like a 3-cent target down here on this thing, and I've held that for a while. And this can still play into it, even though we're on the north side of the roadmap line right now. That's one heck of a downtrend. We're still below these lows, right, or these highs right here. Excuse me, still below these highs, and until we get above about 20 cents, I'm still kind of biased to the downside a little bit on this, just because the supply demand economics of this thing just don't make that much sense. All right. Any other questions on cryptos and stuff? We can circle back around, but I'm going to open it up to your requests at this point. All right, I already see DHT in YouTube, and looks like we're going to be looking for targets here. Let me clear off this right here. Run the retrace, and it needs to break out. Got to get above, that's a double top at this point. If it stops right here and starts, if we start back down below about 8.75, this thing can come all the way down to the roadmap line down here around $7. So be careful on that one. What you need to see is a daily close up here above about 9.30, and then you can probably have fair confidence. I'd keep a stop on, a stop relatively close on it, but 9.89 and $10 on the upside. So, stuff below $10 can be a little sketchy to trade sometimes. So be careful on this one. All right. Next up, ET. That's a frequent flyer we look at. And yeah, that one's going to be up to target. Almost. Just shy. 13's my area. 14 above that stretch goal before we see the next retrace. Now, it's not, looking at this past one, it did not make a huge advance forward before it retraced. So this could be it. It's, its history, it doesn't tend to make, its recent history, it doesn't tend to make big advances before it retraces. It did make a fair, not even a huge one over here. If you go off the whole move, came up to the 1272 twice and retraced right back to that same level. Retrace, breaking a little bit higher. Watch for a retrace at that 1316 area. All right. Next up, CF. And that one's been on a few of my lists here for a little while. Looking for a daily close up in this zone around 110. Set this thing up to go to 127 or 137 on the upside. All right, CI. Yeah, right up to the targets there. Looking good. Watch for 328, and if we get above that, maybe 382. That's a big, wide open space up there, and it can keep on going. UNH is another one that's been trying to break out here. This one can follow suit and get a little bit of retrace today, but I think that both of these can really take advantage of huge upside potential on a dovish Fed announcement. And by dovish, I mean he just kind of says, I think we might have to slow things down. Now, why might he say that? Well, the world economy out there, we're hurting a lot of other economies, and they put pressure on Jerome Powell to play ball in the world arena, right? Even though we're like the super mega house, we, the United States, are the super financial mega house out there. Well, we're small potatoes when you look at the global economy. Even though we're the reserve currency, the downside of that is that we put a lot of pressure on other economies when they want to take their whatever it is, their pounds, their yens, their francs, convert it into dollars. That dumps their currency value, raises our currency value. They go throw it into dollars to get that return that we're hawking, and pushes that dollar higher and higher. Right now we're peeling back just a little bit, and I think if Jerome Powell hiccups at all, we can see this thing drop on down, which is bullish for a lot of commodities. But one more pop up in this zone around 15 to 20. That's 115 to 120. Could be in the cards on the dollar. All right. So LNG was hitting the targets today, or pushing out the new high. I saw Beth in Discord talking about it. I briefly touched on it this morning, and it looks like 182 and 187 are levels above that, above where we are right now, where it might find some resistance. And I held a target up here, right around this 195 to 200 area. And that's that was out there from several weeks ago. All right, GMAB. Yeah, well, pull back, run out. Probably resistance at almost 40, and then 42 above that. Other than that, yeah, it's just kind of protect your profits. Any move back down through this 37.86 can see it return back to this 35 area down here. So be careful on that one. All right, ANET. That looks a little crazy right there. You gotta watch out for that. If it doesn't pop out in the next day or two, that thing can retrace again. So be careful. I mean, it has the potential to get up out of here, and we definitely have this kind of cooking here. Head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. So if it can break up through that neckline area, this kind of move is possible. I don't know about plausible, but possible. And take it up to 175 up there. Right up in that area. Now, on the flip side, if this thing crushes, breaks down, decides not to do that, you see a return down here to around 80. So there's the parameters you're working with. A move down here or move up here. That is a wide range. So be careful. If you're going long, be careful. If you're trying to short it, definitely be careful. All right. Mara. Yeah, just waiting for Bitcoin. That's the name of the game here. Get another pullback. Found resistance at the roadmap line. Optimistic that we can see this thing pop on up. Need to see Bitcoin participate though. All right, BRKB. That's not one that I usually. BRB. Get it right here. BRKB. BRKB. Berkshire Hathaway. I don't have any US listed. .B. There it is. Yeah, that's a little bit of a downtrend right there. Didn't do this up here. Didn't find support. It just crushed it and kept on going. Still lower high. Gotta see it break back above this level. Berkshire A. Yeah. Whoo, look at that. That might give me 100 shares of that. $443,000 a share. All right. Anyway. Yeah, this one right here, not much good. That looks pretty much bearish, which is what that's going to be. So I know you're hoping for bullish, but that looks pretty bearish to me. And that's just a big downtrend underneath the roadmap line, lower highs. It's got to get up above about $10 to really start looking good there. All right. And UNG, not much to say there. It's all natural gas, really. UNG, Boyle, natural. I mean, take your pick on which one we're going to talk about. Really, it all boils down to natural gas right here. Yesterday, we had news that the U.S. was going to see colder temperatures in the next couple of weeks, and then today, maybe that wasn't the truth. Getting a little chop here. That can be bullish, but it also could be bearish. So kind of watching this. If we start seeing a breakdown below, say 525, that's an indication we're going to see lower prices into the fours. We start breaking out above about 640, then we've got to get above. Then we're probably going to test the roadmap line up here around 7. If we can get above 7, then we can definitely run back up to 10 pretty quickly. And we usually spike. I mean, it's just the historical seasonality of natural gas is that we usually see some sort of high in the October, November, December timeframe. Now, it doesn't have to happen this year, as I've said a bajillion times at this point. So that's just one that it doesn't have to happen. Boyle, UNG, it's all the same. You know, just watch the NG1 exclamation point chart. And what's the one exclamation point? That just gets you the continuous contract on futures. NG1 exclamation point right here. Everybody can do this. This is a free account on TradingView. You can pull it up. It doesn't matter that the data is delayed. That it says right there. It doesn't matter when you're looking at the daily chart. So, all right, keep track of it. Set those levels. Set the alerts, and just watch out. All right. The other BRKB. Do you want to see BRKB? I mean, BRKB. That's the New York Stock Exchange one. Yeah, 290. Man. I pulled it up. That's not bullish until it gets about 310. All right. COP. Yeah, reaching out to the extensions. I went through this one this morning along with PSX. Y'all should come watch all the stuff. 135 upside target there. And smaller upside target. A little bit of confluence up there. Could see a pullback after we hit 130 and then rally up to 135 and then 150. Seems to have a lot of confluence up there. PSX also coming out. with earnings here soon. That today, tomorrow. Oh, today. Not a huge reaction either way. All right, GLP. And that's, I mean, target. I mean, it's been pretty much bullish right there. I mean, pretty bullish. Looking at it, I'd watch out for resistance right here, 32, where it's kind of, spent 2 days chopping. Could see an extension out to 36, but looking for much higher than that. Starts to diminish in probability. 42, would be a highly optimistic target right now on GLP. Let's see, OKE, and that's a downtrend right there. That is pretty much bearish until we can break above about 62 or so. Yeah, 62 coming in right at this level right here. All right. Let's see. I've got CZR in YouTube. That's another super bearish chart. I'm not gonna play the stinger again, but yeah, that's pretty bearish. Lower high, lower high, lower high. How low can it go? 0 it can go. Not bullish. At least not right now. All right. And let's see. I have priority for YouTube requests because there's a whole bunch of them. So let's see. In RGU. Yeah. Big oil 3x leverage. Now these things, leverage ETFs, even though I bring them up occasionally, they don't quite work the same way on the charts and stuff. So be careful trying to do some of these leverage thingers here. I caution you. Caution, caution, caution. I'm going to right up to the target. I'd watch out for a retrace back down to this 440 level on that one. It can break on out, but right now it could also retrace. All right, FNGU. That's pretty bearish right there. It looks like they're doing a reverse split. Yeah. Reverse split. So tomorrow or when whatever it's doing, it's going to be way up there. 1 for 10. Or maybe it already did it and that's the repriced numbers. I don't know. That's a 3x. And honestly, that one looks like it's set to go to 0. Like it's a decaying asset at this point. Kind of had this pop over here, but it's crushing right now. So not one that I would be interested in getting in. All right, EMPH. This is one I've kind of been watching closely. It's been on the roadmap watch list for several weeks now. A little bit of trouble getting going here. It's basically set up kind of with the conservative entry. Stop is going to have to be down here around 230, 235, 230. And we're looking for a move out to 348, even 379 on the upside. Now, this candle today, a little disheartening. It's like it's the wrong color. I mean, that should be a green candle closing up here, not a red candle closing down here. So tomorrow, it's probably going to be the tell. And really, the whole market's kind of hinging on what happens tomorrow, right? 2 o'clock is the time. Set your alerts. I put an alert in my phone for like 1:45, and if you want to see fireworks on the charts, come tune into something like ES1 exclamation point. Pull up ES on any platform that has futures. You can watch it on here, but it'll be 10 minutes delayed. Yeah, 10 minutes delayed by TradingView. Unless you buy the data, you can buy a data subscription and watch it live. And you can watch the live on SPX, but usually it's not as crazy. I mean, futures will move in a blink, up and down. And of course, there are arbitrage opportunities, and they keep S&P, SPX and SPY and all that stuff basically in line with the futures. But the futures are really fascinating to watch. I can't tell you why. And just one of those things. If you like watching crazy charts, go watch those. All right. Any more requests inside Zoom or inside anything I missed? I was doing my best to keep up with everybody. I think I got most of all of them. Let's see. Yeah, no problem. All right, everybody. Well, that's been 30 minutes. So if nobody else has anything you want to look at, I'm going to wrap it up. Let's hit a couple of the main ones here. I know always get requested that we haven't even talked about here today, like Apple. Look at that, coming right up to the daily roadmap line, finding resistance for what, 3 days now? Well, really, first attempt there, pull back. Second attempt, 2-3 days on the second attempt here. It's going to hinge on tomorrow. Like, does it pop? Does it drop? And then Amazon, this one on before they announced earnings last week, I popped on here and said that we would likely see a move down, or it would look best if we saw a move down to this 89 area. Well, during the extended hours, we got a drop right down that touched that 89 level, and then we saw a little ramp. I actually bought some calls out to June 2023, mid next year, looking for this thing to kind of establish a bottom here and get out of here. Now, if you look at the actual move that's happened here, we popped up, made an initial move up, kind of retracing. We've hit the 50% today, a little lower, about 94 gets us the 618 retrace. And if we start bullish off of that, then we can get a nice run started that would retest the roadmap line on Amazon. So this was just a small play for me. I was not putting much money onto this, so I don't want to say that this is the bottom. This can certainly crush down. We start breaking through that 94, and we can start getting extension targets like down to 72, or 74, excuse me, on Amazon. We can reach that extension target right on down here. All right, ABPV. Yeah, I knew you have a couple more requests in here. So popping back up to the daily, and popped up through the roadmap line. This has been pretty sideways. It's really a sideways trend here. We broke up through that trend line though. Back to test the roadmap line. We break back above 154, and that can set this one up to finally start getting up here to a potential target that it's got cooking like 186, maybe even 200 if it really got going. So that's one to set some alerts at, like 154. If we can start getting up, that'd be positive on that one. All right, EUO. Yeah, that's let's quit asking for ultra stuff. I'm not a big fan of these ultras. They don't work right. Let's put it that way. Even though I trade some of them, let's look at the things it's based on. So ultra short euro FXE. Yeah. So looking at the euro, and for ultra short euro, well, until this thing starts breaking back through the trend line, ultra short is something that could work. And looks like we're pushing the trend line just a little bit here. Remember, if you're going to trade derivatives, you got to look at the underlying and see what the underlying is telling you. If you're not doing that, then you're not doing yourself a service. And this right here looks like you could push down, but if we break back above 93, I would probably expect this to pop right on up to 95, 96 area. Right up in here, about where the roadmap line would be. So if we start popping there. Now, like I said, if Jerome Powell kind of flinches, the dollar is probably going to drop. Euro is going to pop. Pound's going to pop. FXB. FXY. all these things that have been getting crushed, all these other currencies, probably going to start popping, break out of their downtrends. All right, EMR. Emerson does not look overly bullish yet. We are barely trying to get through the roadmap line here. Closed above it for the 4th day in a row. That wasn't really above it, so it took 3 days to get up through it. We need to stay above it. We start crushing back down here below 84 again. If this thing starts on a path below 84, then we'll time and time again it is shown that it's probably going to make another lower low. All right, be careful on that one. PPL, up or down? Well, just based on that right there, I would say down. Now, it can very well come right back up here, retest this roadmap line, even make a pop up here. Looks like it did a head and shoulders and then dropped out. So right now, that's not enough move to tell anything off of. It's going to retrace. That retrace will tell us more about what it's about to do. It did a retrace over here, did a retrace over here. Hasn't done any significant retrace so far. All right, XLE. Probably the final one here. Yeah, looking for this to break on out. Conservative entry is basically now. Getting to be a little late on it. Move out to 100. I've talked about that for a couple weeks now in various capacities. That was on the roadmap watch list several weeks back. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Hope everybody has a great week. Make sure you're watching on tomorrow when the FOMC announces what's going to happen. What's up with these interest rates, right? Uber, it's been dropping on the regulations, especially like they're contractors being called employees, I guess you would say. You know, the regulation trying to define what that is, what that isn't, and get a little bit of pop today on earnings. You know, looks like surprised with a little bit extra revenue, but underreported on their earnings per share. So is that going to be bullish? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, he could say up to 1%. That's true. You know, and he could say he could flinch and do a 0.5%, 1/4%. We'll have to see. You know, it's based on what they think is going to happen, what their metrics are. It's a big gamble, really, out there in the markets. Now, like I said, watch out. We could just retrace down, and if this thing doesn't hold in this area right here, and like say 3,700-ish, if we start on down through 3,700-ish, we're probably going to hit this 34 level, if not 32. So be careful. Know where your stops are. Know where to go to cash, liquidate, protect yourself. All right. I want everybody to be careful out there. This is a big unknown. I do expect to move up into this red zone before we do retrace, but that doesn't have to happen. That, you know, we came up just to the bottom of the red zone. That can be it. So, all right. I'll see everybody later. I've got another live stream tomorrow morning, tentatively scheduled for 9 a.m. right now. So if you want to come check it out, I'll give you my synopsis on the overnight action. Why 9 o'clock? Well, I got some things I got to do at the normal 10:30. I've been doing it. So I'll do a couple more of those live streams and get you 7 days to celebrate that 1-year anniversary of the 30 Minutes Awesome we had last week. So welcome to a new year of 30 Minutes Awesome.